Am I the butthole for kicking my sister and refusing to send her money even though she had good intentions? Throwaway. My wife, Belle, and I have a beautiful, almost, 3-year daughter. Though her arrival was unexpected, I'm so thankful for her. My sister, Cindy, has never been fond of Belle. Her irrational dislike of my wife was only exacerbated when she announced that she was pregnant. Belle was never good enough. Belle was irresponsible and obsessed with herself for working out during her pregnancy. She's a terrible mother for not quitting her job the moment she found out she was pregnant, etc. I've shut all of it down over the years and I've cut contact with her significantly. One thing my wife and I agreed to not do is talk to our daughter with that high-pitched baby voice many people use to talk to children. We talk to her as if she was a normal human being. We don't talk to her with that goo-goo gaga voice. We never have and never will. We also let our daughter, to a reasonable extent, pick her own clothes, and since she's at the stage where she wants to be independent, we will try to encourage that as much as possible. My wife is half Korean and half Ethiopian, so often, she will mix a few non-English words when she's talking to our daughter. Unfortunately, Cindy can't make rent and has been living with us for the past 2 weeks. Belle's idea: I wouldn't have let her stay in my house because of her continued disrespect of my wife. Cindy was, surprisingly, very kind towards my wife. It was very nice to see Cindy's change of heart. Until she wasn't. Cindy started to make a big fuss about how my wife was talking to our daughter as if she was an adult, and how Belle was a cruel parent for teaching our daughter how to use chopsticks so young. The Edison chopsticks meant for children. My daughter was helping my wife cook. My wife let her hold the pot while she was draining the rice water, and my sister called my mom. She began to make threats of calling child services as my wife was a horrific child abuser. My mom, who hasn't seen my daughter in a year, got upset. I tried to get my sister to talk, but she was unwilling. So I kicked her out. Now the whole family is mad at us, claiming that Cindy had good intentions and that we should let her back. My wife is feeling very guilty with everything, and wants to send my sister some money. Edit. A few people have had concerns over whether my daughter's hands were touching a hot pot. No. They were rinsing the rice before they cooked it, so the pot, not the water, was hot. Not the butthole. Your wife is a wonderful woman with a kind and forgiving heart. But Cindy, despite being given second chances, has flown her true colors without remorse. She's set in her ways/opinions and won't change. Perhaps the whole family can house Cindy rather than you and your family, since they seem so sympathetic to her. You and your wife did your part and made a solid effort to make it work. You don't owe Cindy anything. Cindy should focus her attention on self-sufficiency rather than how you and your wife raise your child. Which, by the way, how awesome your daughter is using chopsticks, learning second languages and cooking. She's got more life skills at the age of 3 than Cindy from the sounds of things. Edited, spell check. Original poster replies. My wife has so much patience. It's insane how she kept up with this. There's probably so much that has happened while I was at work that my wife isn't telling me. Please, please, please do not send Cindy money. That will just assure her that she can say and do whatever she wants with no consequences. Absolutely do not pay her to be a butthole. Paying her could also be taken as a bribe to keep her from going to CPS. Do not pay her. I'd send her a bill. Not the butthole. Cindy is probably extremely jealous of your wife and threatened by her. Don't let her back into your home. Don't give her any money. That only fuels people like Cindy. It's happened in my life. You got to turn the faucet off, so they go look for water somewhere else, otherwise the bad behavior will continue. Could also be racist behavior. Clearly racist. In what world is teaching a child to use chopsticks cruel? It's a utensil for eating, for F's sake, not a sword to chop someone's head off. And teaching a child to help out washing rice is child abuse? Damn, whatever she's having sounds like a bad trip. Not the butthole. Bingo. Not the butthole, and 100%, don't send her money. It would be rewarding bad behavior. Like if a kid throws dinner at the wall, shatters every plate you own because they don't like the food on offer, you don't then take them out for pizza and ice cream. Original poster's sister might be an adult, but I feel it would reinforce that she'll get her way if the tantrum is big enough, no matter how badly she behaves. Original poster, the saying "don't make a rod for your own back" comes to mind. Don't let your sister off easily, don't reward her. And start a paper trail. Keep any texts, emails, or social media posts that in any way reference the situation. Maybe even inform your local children's services that they might get a report and why. Be open and get in touch before your sister has a chance to muddy the waters. You and your wife sound like wonderful parents, but even great parents end up needing lawyers and going through hell to prove they are great parents when someone in their life is malicious enough to keep lying. I don't want to be all doom and gloom, but people can be so spiteful, so better to seem paranoid if it means protecting your family in this case. Honestly, even if there wasn't anything else, you have every reason to kick her out. She began to make threats of calling child services as my wife was a horrific child abuser. This is the nuclear button, and your sister just pressed it. She is threatening to get your child removed and you to incur massive legal costs as you fight it. It isn't a threat to take lightly. Next time they bring up her good intentions, ask them how getting your child taken away by the government benefits anyone. This right here. The very second you threaten my relationship with my child, it's over, you're cut off, no ifs, ands or buts. Absolutely not the butthole. She is threatening to get your child removed and you to incur massive legal costs as you fight it. It isn't a threat to take lightly. Next time they bring up her good intentions, ask them how getting your child taken away by the government benefits anyone. 100%, this. Original poster, Cindy is threatening to harm your daughter or family. Do not send her money. You do not silently condone her behavior by giving her money. Doing so sends mixed messages, and the message needs to be that your family comes first, and she and her prejudices are not welcome in your home. The rest of the family can take Cindy in or pay for her living space if they're that worried about her. Not the butthole. I can't emphasize how important this point is enough. I watched friends, and wonderful parents, have to defend themselves against accusations made by a disgruntled mother-in-law. CPS were efficient and respectful, but they ended up having to retain a lawyer, and it was a messy, several years long affair, and they will always have a record as having been investigated. It is the nuclear button. These friends came very close to losing custody, temporarily, of their little girls while the case was investigated. The CPS worker empathized, saying it happens in retaliation more than one can imagine. Revolting, she would even threaten it. Your wife is patient because women are socialized to be nice even when they shouldn't be. She's patient because it's obvious that not putting up with your sister's nonsense makes the whole family turn against someone. She's patient because minorities are taught that being nice and patient with racists is their responsibility. Even when your wife advocates for the kindest or patient option, please be aware that it may not be the best thing to do. You may need to step up and be willing to be the non-patient one with your family, because your wife doesn't have the social leverage to be able to do it the same way that you do. Bless your wife, she sounds incredibly kind, and that is a wonderful quality. But the minute someone threatens to call child services on your family is the minute they should be cut out completely. That is completely unacceptable, and you both should be very wary of what kind of nonsense and BS your sister could potentially stir up in your life. Sorry y'all are going through this, it really sucks to have crazy family. Make sure you set the story straight with the rest of your family, because I suspect Cindy is spewing lies to get people on her side. And good on you and your wife for not using baby talk. I hate it too, and I believe regular speech helps the kid develop their language skills faster. Plus, at her age, trying to use chopsticks is great for working on her coordination. Hijacking the top comment to agree that yes, you're not the butthole, but speaking to babies in an overly melodic/high-pitched way is not inherently bad. It teaches babies to be attentive to the tone of people's voices. In fact, studies show that babies are uniquely attentive to motherese, the musical speaking voice that mothers and dads often use with babies. Your sister is a racist, let's be real. And sexist by expecting pregnant women to quit their jobs. And uneducated for expecting them to stop exercising. While there is a point at which certain exercise is bad, consult your doctor. Every body is different. For most of the pregnancy, exercise is good. It helps your body stay healthy and, fun fact, Endorphins are awesome, say 10/10 fetuses, they love them. It's really only bad to exercise when pregnant if I haven't been doing it all along. Someone who has never done CrossFit shouldn't pick it up 6 months pregnant. Otherwise, there is no reason to stop. Stopping could even cause other issues. 100%, this. My OB-gynecologist told me anything I did before I was pregnant, I could do while I was pregnant so long as my body wasn't saying stop, aka if what I was doing was causing me pain. I told her I ran a barn and with that came heavy hay bales, 50-pound speed bags, and horseback riding. She said I wasn't her only patient who had a barn, and what she said still applied, laughing out loud. So literally up till the day I gave birth, I was doing my usual barn chores / maintenance and trail riding. I had no physical pregnancy complications. My son was born perfectly healthy, with more neck control than the nurses had seen in a newborn before, laughing out loud. He also loved to be bounced on our knees, which coincidentally mimicked the action of trotting on a horse. I remember every time I'd slow down my horse to a walk when I was still pregnant, my son would kick me from the inside, like he was telling me again. And your wife's not patient. She just trying her damnedest not to be labeled the angry black woman. In Michelle Obama's book, she talks about what a frustrating stereotype that is. What do you do when you're genuinely upset by what some butthole has done? Being an angry woman alone usually is dismissed because PMS. Adding race in just makes for a whole new level of ignorance. This was my first thought. Her irrational dislike sounds like straight up racism, and that's why original poster's wife can never do anything right in sister's eyes. Oh my god, so this? Not the butthole. Your sister needs to learn boundaries. It's none of her business how you guys parent your kid unless there is abuse involved, which there isn't. Your daughter literally held a pot. There is no good intention in making child services threats on a loving mother. Thank you for stepping up for your wife. You'd be surprised by how many people don't stick up for their so. But how could they? A pot. Everyone knows that pots are recipes for disaster. What if she drops it? Then the acid rice will fly everywhere. A former co-worker fled Vietnam when she was a child. Her dad couldn't go with her, and her mom died. She was sent with people who did not speak Vietnamese, and she didn't speak their language. Her contribution at 5 years old was to cook the rice. She did it for every meal. Not the butthole. Your sister is making a threat that could have your child taken away for a bit and at minimum cause you a lot of hassle. She doesn't respect you. She doesn't need to be there. Wasting CPS time with accusations that a child is learning to use chopsticks and rinse raw rice for F's sake. Somewhere there's a child actually being abused. Yes, how terrible. The child is learning how to use utensils and even, gasp, touching rice and water. Not the butthole. If the family are so concerned, they can let your sister stay with them. She was berating and undermining your wife, and you. And good on you for laying down a boundary that is your family is first priority. She didn't like your parenting style, so she would be willing to lie about abuse to child services? Please don't ever let her near your wife or child again. Not the butthole. This thread is the epitome of the thread posted in r/justnormal don't rock the boat. Original poster, your sister is the one making the boat flail around, and your family is just mad you won't continue to create a setting that allows her to do so, leaving them to deal with her. Thank you for having your wife's back, even so far as respecting her wishes to allow your sister into your home. Please continue to have it by standing by her and cutting your sister out of the equation. Reddit link. Not the butthole. I did not read any good intentions coming from Cindy. If she cannot respect you and your wife's parenting style and is actively disrupting the household, you did the right thing. Those family members who are passing judgment, have they opened their homes to Cindy and her mouth? Not the butthole. Sounds like you're both doing great and your sister is clearly racist. Is she against your 3-year-old being taught to use other cutlery too? In case you didn't know, the sing-songy high-pitched voice people use with babies, though 3 is probably too old for it, is known as mothery/infant directed talk, and it's thought to play a role in speech development. Edit, autocorrect. Web link. God forbid it happens again. But the next time the option of having your sister live with you guys comes up again, override your wife if she says it's okay. I think your wife is doing that only to keep peace among your relatives, so you need to put an end to that on your side. Not the butthole for kicking your sister out. She did not have good intentions. And threatening to call CPS? That's a no forever when it comes to your sister. And don't send her money. Your mother and your whole family can send Cindy money and have her live with them. If they think Cindy is such a treat, then they won't mind, and Cindy can't be a choosy beggar. Not the butthole. Cindy didn't have good intentions. Cindy was nice so she could stay under the radar and gather evidence. Cindy will do all she can to torpedo your marriage. Cindy needs help and to never be near your family again. Anyone who supports Cindy can join her. Not the butthole. To be honest, if it were me, it'd cut Cindy completely out of my life. Nobody needs that negativity in their life. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.